Now let's see how to use expressions in the properties. So in the exchange property, let's create one more property called date. So I would like to read the current date. Okay. So instead of constant, I'll select expression here. And in the source value, we have to provide simple camel expression. To read the current date, we have a simple camel expression called date now. So we know that every expression starts with $, curly braces. Okay. This function is date colon now colon. So we have to specify in which format we want the date to be. I'll say year, month, and day. All right. I'll close the curly braces. And in the next tab, in the data type, we have to provide the data type, a valid Java class. So I'll use string here. For that, we have to write Java dat lang dot string. String in string s should be capital, right? So this is a standard class in Java. So we use java dot lang dot string. That's it. We can call this property inside this final payload. Okay, I'll call this here with current date equals to the property name, property dot date. So this is the property name we gave, right? So I'll deploy this and check how it works. So it ran. I'll check the final payload. In the body, we can see the current date came as 2025-12-04. So in Indian time zones, we use date, month, and year, right? So let's try to have that in our date, including the slashes as well. So I'll say we want date first, dd slash mm slash year, and deploy. Turn OK, and yep, now you have the current date 4th of December 2025. So this is how we use expressions. So we can use any camel expression in the expression type. You can also do this for the headers as well. So there is no exception. You can add a header and say time. So I just want a time. So in the source type, you can select expression, and in the source value, we have to give the expression dollar curly braces date now. We need only the time, right? So the times starts like this: h mm ss. So we have to give the data type as well, java dot lang dot string. In string, s should be capital. I'll call this header in the message body, current time equals dollar curly braces. We have declared this in the header, right? So we use header dot time. Let's deploy this and check our payload. So you can see current time, hours, minutes, and seconds. So this is how we declare expressions using headers and properties. If you can observe in the CP helper steps, if you select properties, there are some default SAP properties, but if you look at date, this is the property we have created earlier, and this one as well, name. And in the header section, you can see course is one of the header we created earlier, and time is another header, right? So you can see the body here. So this is the use of CPA helper. We don't need to go to the monitor section. We can easily see our payloads, our properties, headers in the iFlow section as well, right? So here in the exchange properties, we can create a property which has the value of a header. Looks confusing, right? Let me explain. Click on add. This is an exchange property, create, and name would be header time, right? We have created a time header. So instead of constant, we will select header. And in the source value, we have to give the name of the header, or you can simply click on select and it will show you the available headers in the iFlow. So I'll select time. So this will read the value of the time in this property. So if you want to access this property, you will simply use $property dot property name. I'll take another content modifier. Let's say property. So let's say get property. In the message body, I'll use expression and call that property which we have created a user property and create and call that property we have created earlier. So dollar curly braces property dot header time. So this is the property name we gave, right, in the final payload content modifier. Yeah, you can see header time. So these header names and property names are case sensitive. So you have to be aware when you are calling the property names, right? So this should give us the current time, right? Let me beautify this first using this horizontal line and click on deploy. So if we check the final payload, in the body you see the time. So this is how we use properties as headers, and same go applies to the property as well. If you select property and let's say property new, right, and in source type click on property, and we have to give the name of the property. So this is how these work. We have seen constant, expression, header and property. Okay, now see the XPath type. Okay, so first in the initial payload, in the first payload, I'll write a simple XML with example book, right? So this is a sample XML. It contains details of a book. So I'll paste this, and I would like to read. I would like to create properties of available and sold out. Okay, so this is the initial payload, and in the next step, in the next content modifier, I'll change this name, change this content modifier's name to get available stock. Okay, get available stock. In the property, I'll create one property. Let's delete this. Create one property called available stock. Okay, and in the source type, we have to select XPath. And in the source value, we have to provide the XPath to the available. So let's look at the payload clearly. So this is the payload, and you can see available is here. So it is under book, under stock and available. So we have to provide the path. So I'll write the book slash stock slash available. Okay, this is the XPath. So I'll copy this and paste it here. So we have created available stock property, and I'll call this in the final payload. Okay, let's rename this to final payload, and in the message body, I'll just say available stock equals to, I have to read the value from property. So I'll say dollar curly braces property dot available stock. Okay, so let's see after deploying this. So we get an error. So yeah, we forgot the data type. So it is important to provide the data type for expression and XPath as well. So we have to give java dot lang dot string. So I'm just reading the values in a string, so I'll use string. So let's try to deploy this again. Okay, I'll enable the trace and see the payload. Right, you get available stock equal to 10. Okay, if I change the payload value to, let's say, 50, and the output should come as 50, right? So I'll try to deploy and see. So you get 50. So that's working. And while giving the XPath, like we have discussed earlier in our videos, there are two ways. One is relative XPath, which we have tried now, and there is absolute XPath using double slashes. Okay, let's try to use double slashes here, and let's create another property, and I'll call it as sold out. Okay, sold out, and a source type would be XPath, and source value is double slash sold out. So the naming should be correct. So yeah, S should be capital. So I'll just copy paste this, and we have to provide the data type as well, java dot lang dot string, and I'll try to access this property, the final payload. I'll say sold out stock equals dollar property dot sold out. So that this should return. So this should return the sold out stock, right? So this is how we use XPath in content modifier. So this is very important. We have couple of standard functions in XPath. We will discuss them later. That's it for today. And in the next video, we will see the difference between header and property.